What is up, Earthnoids and spacenoids? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode we are finally beginning our journey through Mobile Suit Victory Gundam. Since Mafty's rebellion in UC-105, people have been returning to Earth, but the Federation controls the flow of immigration, and thus an influx of illegal immigration on Earth began. One of those illegal immigrants happens to be our young hero, Uso Ewan. Do you say Ewan or Ewan? I think it's Ewan. Like many Gundam shows, we see the horrors of war through the eyes of a child, but this show takes it to a whole different level. You guys ready? Because this is going to be a depressing one. Let's not waste any time, and let's get into this. A young boy in a Shakyu is fighting against a Bespa soldier piloting a Zolo. The ZMT-S12G Shakyu is a test mobile suit for data gathering for the next mass production mobile suits for the Zanskar Empire. It has a V-shaped antenna and multi-sensors in each bug eyes. Weapons include the beam rotors. This produces beam blades that spin to produce lift. This is developed by Bespa, but we've seen a rudimentary version of this on the Jovian's L-Copty. It also has the twin shoulder beam guns, a beam shield, a beam saber, a beam rifle, and a Gatling gun. The ZM-S08G Zolo is a mass-produced transformable mobile suit developed from the Zolo. This is the first mobile suit to utilize the beam rotors for Zanskar. This is broken into two parts. The first is the top terminal, which is where the cockpit is located. It resembles a helicopter in this flight form. This allows the unit to perform bombing runs. The second part is the bottom terminal, or boots. This is unmanned and can also drop charges. The two combine to form into its mobile suit form. However, many pilots struggle to transform mid-battle, so most pilots just use the flight form. Weapons include a 9-tube missile pod, a beam rifle, a beam bazooka, a beam saber, depth charges, a Gatling gun, and Vulcans. The young boy is Uso. The Ballistic Equipment and Space Patrol Army, or BESPA, is the Zanskar Empire's army. The Zolo tears through the Shakyu. The young boy ejects in an escape pod and then jumps out. The Zanskar pilot assumes that the kid died from such heights. He takes the remains of Uso's mobile suit back with him. The Ligue Militaire has been a resistance movement fighting off the Zanskar invasion of Earth. They very much resemble the French resistance during the end of World War II. The Yellow Jackets, a branch of Bespa, recently bombed Uwig, which was formerly Prague in the Czech Republic. Ligue Militaire were supposed to meet a contact here. They eventually find their contact burnt to a crisp along with other bodies. Bespa didn't want something out, but they find a map on the burnt body. How did that map not burn? Marbe went out in a core fighter. She eventually stumbles onto Uso, but is gravely injured. Ligue Militaire stumbles onto the factory on the map to find the facility has been untouched, thanks to those poor, charred humans that didn't tell Zanskar about its location. This facility seems to be harnessing part of a mobile suit, one that connects to the core fighter. Katajina talks to Oin Young, the leader of Ligue Militaire in the region. She wonders if their sacrifice was necessary. Oi goes, "Oh, no, it's much grimmer than that. The same thing happened to all League outposts, not just Ewing." He bluntly states that they simply aren't strong enough against a real military. That's a huge concept to take in for a child. We haven't even made it past the first act of the first episode. Their goal is to simply get EFF to wake up and act. They can't win this alone. Nearly a century of on and off war has greatly weakened EFF. That, along with their typical apathy, forced Ligue Militaire to do something about the invasion. Uso flies the core fighter since Marbe is injured. He learns that the core fighter is a mobile suit. He takes the core fighter back to the rest of the team. The Bespa pilot from earlier is named Chronicle Asher. He is our Char clone for the series, and he wears a mask because he seems to hate Earth's atmosphere. He doesn't want to get that COVID, I get it. Chronicle takes off in the Zolo top. He finds the League's movements and begins firing on their temporary base. That is when Uso decides to launch the core fighter. He is out of ammo. The Zolo boots are being attacked, so he decides to connect the two parts, turning the Zolo into mobile suit form. The League sends out the core top and the boots to connect to the core fighter. The Zolo is able to destroy the boots, so they have to send out another pair. The League also seems to ride updated versions of the Wappa. These look slimmed down and refitted for civilian use, but these are referred to as Wappas in this series. The new pair of boots dock with the core fighter, and it transforms into Victory Gundam. The LM312V04 Victory Gundam is a modular mobile suit which consists of a core fighter, a top terminal, and boots. The core fighter can connect to the top to create the top fighter, and the boots to create the bottom fighter. When all three are combined, it transforms into a mobile suit form. It has a Minovsky flight system, which is a simplified Minovsky craft system. This allows the mobile suit to float in Earth's atmosphere and reach insane speeds. It also has hardpoints on its back, arms, and legs. The League will use data from this machine to create the Gun Easy. Weapons include Vulcan guns, a beam rifle, which doubles as a beam pistol, a beam saber, a beam shield, a beam trident, a beam bazooka, a quadruple missile pod, a Gatling gun, and disposable bazookas. You could tell that Impulse Gundam from Gundam Seed Destiny is heavily influenced by Victory. The two fight with beam sabers. Uso kicks the Zolo, destroying its sensors. Chronicle takes off in the Zolo top. A young girl, Shakti, says this is all because of what happened a few days earlier. It has become cliche at this point to start in media res and then flashback to how they all got there. But I must say it's getting quite old in Gundam. Someone needs to get Morty to push Tomino.
You like that? You want me to cut to 3 weeks earlier?
So anyways, 3 days earlier, Uso is parachuting when he is swept up into a fight by the Zolos and the Shakyu against the core fighter, piloted by Marbe. Marbe is shot, which is how she was injured in the first place. That is when Uso's parachute gets caught on the Shakyu, piloted by Chronicle. Uso gets into the cockpit and the two have an awkward and really long fight. Yeah, kick him in the dick! The mobile suit crashes into the river, causing Chronicle to fall out. Uso says, ooh, free robot, and takes off. Chronicle is amazed that they would resort to airdropping onto a mobile suit, not realizing this was all an accident. Shakti finds Marbe down and tries to help her, but Uso finds Shakti and says, let's just bail. Good luck, lady. Peace. Uso hasn't received the call to adventure yet. Stop denying your destiny, bro. Uso and Shakti live in a small house close to each other. He heads home to write to his pen pal, who happens to be Katagina. He tells her of his exploits in a mobile suit. A group of kids eat Uso's ham when they notice a huge group of Zolos flying overhead. They're planning to attack Uwig. The kids are Della Henrik, Warren Trace, and Susie Relan, or Relaine. They're originally refugees from Legrand. Or Legrain? I don't know, the show uses too many French words and I hate it. They tell Uso that Zanskare is resorting to using the guillotine. Bombing begins at Uwig. Uso is concerned for his pen pal, Katagina. Uso and his Hado head out to the Shakyu that he stole, but Uso runs into a Zolo on the way. The Zolo pilot thinks that someone stole Chronicle's mobile suit. The two begin fighting. He takes his beam rifle and sets it down while firing it with a string as a distraction. It's like a Home Alone sketch. The distraction works and Uso takes down the Zolo. Uso gets his first taste of blood. Chaos ensues in Uwig. All the civilians look like peasants from the 1920s. Come on, it's the future. At least one person would be doing a TikTok dance amongst the chaos. What up, fam? This is your boy. And today we are doing the Genocide TikTok Challenge. Uso rushes to the city to find a lot of dead bodies. He is randomly attacked by the civilians along with a missile buggy. The missile buggy is an off-road Elicar similar to what we saw in UC 0079. However, this has a 10-tube missile pod on the back. A lot of militias and civilians are still using old one-year war surplus. They don't realize that Uso is not from Bespa. However, Bespa comes in and incinerates all those rebelling. Brutal. A Zolo pilot approaches thinking that Uso is Lieutenant Chronicle, but they end up fighting each other. The Zolo attaches to some boots and transforms into mobile suit form. One surviving League member on the ground decides to blow up a factory, engulfing the Shakyu in flames. The Zolo pilot thinks that the Shakyu is destroyed. In the city, Katagina's father is trying to bribe Bespa into sparing their house in the chaos. Katagina says, this is why mom left you. He proceeds to give her a Wong Li slap. It's not a bright slap. Bright slaps are motivating. This is certainly closer to a Wong slap. Another mother dies in the streets, leaving a baby alone. Leave it to Gundam to make mommy murder a cliche. Uso takes down a Zolo top. The pilot escapes, but is instantly shot by the League. The League takes Uso in. Passes out and wakes up next to Katagina, who is taking care of the baby. The city continues being destroyed by Bespa. Chronicle finds the pilot that Uso thought he killed, but he is actually still alive. I'm pretty sure he also just shot a dog in this scene. They send a flare to their comrades. Katagina finds an old subway in the city. They flee in the Shakyu, and he drops off Katagina before joining the fight. Shakti and the kids are surrounded by Zolos when Uso comes in and fights the mobile suits. Uso is surrounded when the League uses the Gundam top terminal as a turret. It takes out one Zolo, while Uso attacks the others. He is able to get to safety. Uso meets up with the kids and the League, where Shakti is jealous of Katagina. They learn that the baby's name is Carl, his full name being Carlman Ducarse. What an epic name for a baby. Also, it's weird seeing a baby named Carl. All Carls start at 10 years old. Shakti is concerned about the upcoming war brewing. Uso tells the League that he has computer chips that they could use at his house. They learn that he has a giant server farm under his house left by his parents. Chronicle gets his red Zolo. He touches down and spots Shakti, who is taking Carl for a walk. Chronicle's comrades go off on his own and begin attacking the area. We will learn more about this later, but Chronicle has a I could do whatever I want position in Zanskare. He also judges his comrades who rush into battle quickly. Uso tells Shakti to follow the Kamyon while he goes to help. The Kamyon is a transport vehicle used by the League. This typically transports the core fighter and acts as a mobile base of operations. Kamyon is French for truck. Uso grabs a Gatling gun off the truck and goes to fight the Zolos. Chronicle is able to transform into mobile suit form, but Uso takes down a few mobile suits. They note that the Shakyu's base performance performance is better than before. Marbe launches in the core fighter. She joins the fight. She also notes that Uso isn't moving around enough. He is still a green pilot after all. Chronicle slices his Gatling gun in half. The Chemyon gets Marbe's attention so she could dock with the core top. This allows her to form the top fighter. Earlier, Uso and the League set up wire traps to set off giant beam cannons. Like it's Home Alone or something. One of Chronicle's comrades are led into the trap. The top fighter is shot and crash lands. One Zolo lunges at Uso, but his beam rifle vaporizes the beam saber. He takes out his own beam saber and stabs through the cockpit. That's a clean kill. You could reuse that mobile suit, but this causes Uso to have some existential dread. Chronicle shoots Uso, and he ejects out of the Shakyu, bringing us right back to the beginning of the anime. Back in the present, Shakti looks at Uso in Victory Gundam. And that will do it for our introduction to Mobile Suit Victory Gundam. There is a lot of tragedy packed into the first 4 episodes. As Uso becomes a pilot, Shakti worries about his soul and his peace of mind. We also still have much to learn about Chronicle and his relationship with Zanskare royalty. Next time, Uso goes up against God Zorla. A Zanskare soldier tries to blow himself up after losing to a boy, and Uso dreams of a guillotine. God, everything sounds morbid in this show. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, just because the guillotine is out of fashion now, doesn't mean it won't make a comeback in the future. Peace.